Valentino for For Film's Sake, and I have my camera here to show you what Apeture is. A lot of people always ask me, you know, I always use it in auto, I need to learn more about my camera, what does this setting do, what is Apeture? Well, Apeture does a variety of things. It controls your exposure, it also controls your depth of field. So what I have, we're going to go inside, we're going to show you what those do, and a couple little pictures and examples of what that is. So we'll see you inside in a little bit. Alright everyone, so what I have here is a 50mm f2 lens. This is going to help you understand the definition of aperture, which I'm going to pop up right now. See there, that's what it is. The bigger the aperture, more light that comes in. The smaller the aperture, the less light comes in. And right now we're kind of at medium light. So when you're out in the world and taking pictures, and let's say around 12 o'clock noon, you want the aperture closed down as much as possible because it's too bright out. If you have the aperture open, wide open, what's going to happen is going to overexpose your photo, and this is all the light's going to be going in. Imagine like a big black hole here, sucking all the light there. It's kind of pretty gnarly. So what we do is we change it down. So let's say f8. F8, that's a good aperture. And so what happens is you go to take a picture, you see this through your viewfinder. It's wide open. You can see all the light just as you see normally. And then once you take a picture, it snaps down. The shutter curtain opens up and it takes the picture pretty much. And then once the shutter curtain closes, this guy opens back up so you can see normally through the camera. Another thing that Apeture does is it gives you how much things in your background in focus. So if you have, let's say, an f2 lens and you close it all the way to f2, pretty much what's going to happen is what's going to be right in front of you is going to be in focus. Everything else in the background is going to be out of focus, or it's usually called bokeh, which means to blur. So when you want more things in focus, you just close down the aperture to like f8 and you'll start getting more things in focus. So if you're doing like landscape photography and you want everything in focus all the way out into infinity, you pretty much close the aperture as far down as it can go, like f16 or f22, which most DSLR lenses do nowadays, and that makes everything in focus. So I have a little picture here that I can show you that will give you an example of what depth of field is right now. And so if you can see there at each aperture what gives you in focus. That's also depth of field. But when you do that with depth of field, you have to change your shutter speed, because what happens is, let's say you want just the one thing in front of you and everything blurred in the background, you're still letting in a ton of light. So that means you have to increase your shutter speed to get that correct exposure. So you want to get the perfect exposure. So if you're at f2, maybe you want to put the shutter speed maybe at 1/160th of a second at ISO 400, let's say, for example, for that. But we'll go over that in other videos of what ISO is and what exposure is and shutter speed, etc., etc. But we're just gonna go with aperture right now. So that'll be future videos for you guys to watch and enjoy. So that's it for right now. This is Valentino from For Film's Sake, and follow me on the For Film's Sake at Facebook. And also I have Twitter, so you can see all the random stuff or quick photo tips. And that's about it. Take care. Have a good day.